Welcome to Markets Today. I'm your host, Mbithe Mwema. Today is the 30th of September, the last day for the month of September. I do hope that you are able to make some returns. If so, I'd like to hear why your money moves. Let's take a look, however, in terms of what was happening on the NSE yesterday, and I'll also be giving you an update of what is happening today. After that, we'll take a look at the Central Bank of Kenya's Monetary Policy Committee report that came out yesterday, and the benchmark rate was left unchanged. There are a few interesting data points that we gleaned from this report. We will share that with you. Then, as we get into the crux of the show today, we have a very interesting conversation lined up for you. You know, on Wednesdays, it's all about talking technology, and it's trying to get as many women in the technology space to speak to us and tell us what is happening. We have a virtual interview lined up for you later on today with Bionic, which is based out of Uganda. I'll give you a brief of this once we go into the break. But first, let's take a look at what was happening on the NSE. As you can see, the charts are there, and there was a bit of a downward movement on the indices. But before I talk to you about the indices and the performance, allow me to walk you through some of the key corporate events that happened overnight. The key corporate event for the day is the fact that Jubilee Holdings will be selling off a part of its general insurance business to Allianz. This transaction will be worth 10.8 billion shillings. Today, we've already seen Jubilee hit the 10% mark in terms of price gains, and it's trading at 242 shillings per share. And this is reflective of this material event that has already come out. So take caution and be aware of that particular price point for today for Jubilee. And then let's take a look at what was happening yesterday now on the NSE. All the indices were down. We saw a bit of downward movement across the blue chips. Safaricom is now below the 30 shilling mark. We also saw some weakness on equity below 37. It was at 36.5. The NSE All Share lost a bit of points yesterday to close at 140. The NSE 20 share is at 1,844 points. Let's take a look at what was happening on equity turnover. As you can see there, the numbers were glowing down. We will be able to put the numbers in subsequent shows. But for today, the price point that we have seen, which was the highest on turnover, was 2 weeks ago when Safaricom traded 115 million. At this point in time, the turnover for the market was 3.2 billion shillings. Another high point was last week when we saw a huge trade on Equity Bank. That was 28 million shares that traded. The turnover for the day was 1.44 billion. At the end of the week, which is one day before the close of the month, we did see a drop in turnover, and turnover was 180 million shillings, which was traded yesterday. The top trades by virtue of turnover were Equity and Safaricom, and we saw the foreigners on both the sell side as well as on the buy side. The foreigners remain net sellers of stock, and we are seeing a bit of weakness in as far as that is concerned. Yesterday, a drop in terms of the turnover on Tuesday, second day of trading for this week. We are waiting to see what happens today and tomorrow as the month closes, today rather. And also, this particular close of the month is also the close of the quarter. So perhaps it will be interesting to see if we see any huge volumes. Up until this time, nothing much has actually happened. So we expect that the trajectory will be similar to what we saw yesterday. Let's take a look at who the top movers were. When you're looking at the NSE, you're looking at the top movers either by virtue of volume, which is what we have here, or by virtue of equity turnover. By virtue of equity turnover, Equity Group was the dominant mover yesterday, followed by Safaricom. But by virtue of volume, Kenya Power was the top mover by volume terms, 2.3 million shares traded at the sub 1.8 shilling mark. Equity Group, 1.45 million shares were traded. It was the second in terms of volume, but it was the first in terms of value for traded over the day, which was the equity turnover. Britam Holdings, we continue seeing it topping our charts on volumes. That's 1.3 million that has been traded. Safaricom, 1.2 million, slightly below the 30 shilling mark. Kenya Re, 678,000 shares traded. Who were the top gainers for the day? Top gainers, Cabasid was up 4 percentage points to 8.36 shillings per share. We haven't seen too much movement following the last high net worth announcement of an acquisition of 101 million shares by Balubai. That's been the key corporate news on this particular stock. Uchumi is still on the radar. It was up 3 percentage points to 0.31 shillings per share. Still seeing a bit of volumes trading there. Nothing has come out into the public realm as yet. I&M Holdings, we have been talking about this when we were looking at the banking stocks, saying that there was a possibility of an upsurge on I&M and possibly DTB. We've seen I&M gain 2 percentage points to 45 shillings per share on thin volumes. This one and DTB are suddenly on our watch list, and we're trying to see once we get a sense of a bit of liquidity on these stocks, then possibly we could see a bit of a jump, at least in the short time, and they are part of our speculative watch. East African Breweries, interesting performance there. It's up 170, and this is largely driven by the extension of the curfew. Bars and restaurants are now allowed to sell alcohol, and they will be closing at 10 as opposed to not being able to sell alcohol earlier. This is a slight positive for East African breweries, and it actually shows you that once the economy opens, that this company could recover the losses in terms of the loss of revenue that it had to incur for the last 3 months, because its calendar year starts at the beginning of July. So from July to date, it's been 3 months. So investors are buying in at 170, hoping that possibly it goes back to the above 200 level, which is where it was trading at before COVID-19. Longhorn, slight recovery there, 1 percentage point. Thin volumes, but also possibly a recovery that is backed by the fact that the education sector is slowly beginning to think about opening. So a bit of a recovery could be seen, at least for the revenues for this company. The top losers for the day, that's our next chart. The small caps really dominated performance there. Crown Paints was down 10 percentage points to 42 shillings per share. TPS Serena down 7 percentage points. Trans Century down 4.8 percentage points to 1.58. BK Group, that's Bank of Kigali Group, down 3 percentage points to 13 shillings per share. Now we'll take a look at the next slides, and we are looking at what the Central Bank of Kenya decided this week. The Central Bank of Kenya every month, or at least for the last couple of months, has been holding its Monetary Policy Committee meeting. This committee deliberates on key data points and decides on the benchmark rate, which is the central bank rate. It either increases this rate or reduces this rate, and this is very indicative to the market in terms of what to expect and the outlook of interest rates. Yesterday, this particular meeting left the rate unchanged. This was expected. It is unchanged at 7%. But let's take a look at some of the decisions and some of the key points that we were able to glean from this one. I think we can go to the previous slide. It's probably grown. So what the committee noted was that the existing policy measures that have been implemented since March at the onset of COVID-19 have had the intended effect on the economy, and this will be augmented by the implementation of the fiscal measures in the current budget. Some of the measures that the central bank instigated were a reduction on the cash, the CRR ratio, which is the amount of cash that the banks can earn. And this reduction was intended to release debt into the economy, more specifically to the SMEs. Some of the other measures that the central bank took were the extension of the reverse repo window, which was also increased over the last, as at March. And the other thing that we did see was a reduction on the central bank rate. And what the central bank is saying is some of the measures are still in place, and it's not really concerned about the outlook, especially for the banking sector. The key concerns from the investing community, I beg your pardon, are around: are we going to see an incidence where growth becomes negative, and what does this mean for the economy? But we are at a space where the central bank governor, Dr. Patrick Njoroge, is saying that our expectations in terms of the macroeconomic outlook are well anchored and not a big of a problem, as it were. The second slide will talk us through the fact that this MPC concluded that the current accommodative monetary policy stance remains appropriate and therefore decided to retain the central bank rate at 7%. So an accommodative stance is really what the word says. You have a situation where the central bank is being accommodative and it wants people to be able to fill this accommodative policy and be able to enhance the economic activity in the economy. Based on this, the rate was left at 7%, and its importance is the fact that the 7% is used as an anchor by financial institutions when they are pricing out credit to extend to the economy. The other key thing that we were able to glean from this particular report was the fact that there has still continued to be credit growth in the different sectors of the economy. Overall, by the month of August, credit that was extended in the Kenyan country was up 8 percentage points. As we go through the next slides, you will be able to see some of the key sectors that were growing. Our graphics team will put up the next slide for us. And this is talking about the central bank rates. The next slide, please, which will tell us what was happening on the central bank rate. So we've missed that, but the central bank rate remains at 7%, was there at the previous meeting and is expected to remain there at least for the foreseeable future. Now, when we talk about growth in the sectors, total credit growth was up 8%. That's the credit that has been extended to the Kenyan economy. Certain sectors have started getting slightly more allocation in terms of credit, and we saw the top sectors were transport sector was leading in terms of the growth. Then we had the consumer durables, followed by manufacturing and trade. Manufacturing is interesting because it's become part of the Big Four agenda, and it's becoming a space where the companies and the banks are saying that they are open to extending credit in that space. Consumer durables, that's you and I, more or less personal credit growth. And in as much as there's slight growth in this particular segment, we've also seen a jump in terms of the non-performing loans that are attributed to this particular sector. Banks continue to restructure their loans, but the central bank governor says that the country is more or less in a good space. And what is helping Kenya is the fact that the economy is diversified. One sector goes down, the other one is stable, another one goes up. The sectors that have been hard hit continue to be the hotel sector, and as the economy opens up, then this particular hit is looking negligible in terms of the impact in the foreseeable future. Exports are on an upward recovery, very gradual, but still an upward recovery. The central bank did host a media briefing earlier today, and the sentiment was as I have just described. I think some of the key issues that came out from this briefing were the questions about Kenya's debt levels. The Parliament Budget Office over the last 2 weeks has been crying foul and saying that the debt levels are too high, and Kenya is paying 49% of its estimated revenues, and this is going out to service debt. Dr. Njoroge said our debt levels are okay, they are sustainable. He also talked about the recent review by Moody's in terms of the ranking, in terms of the outlook for the Kenyan as a sovereign. And he said there's nothing to be concerned about. We will be able to recover. And the fact that we still have a diversified economy means that the country is able to generate revenue to be able to manage its debt. The final thing from Dr. Patrick Njoroge was this. There were concerns coming around the current interest rates that we are seeing on treasury bills as well as treasury bonds. The one-year treasury bill is at 7.5%. The inflation rate is at 4.3%. That's a negligible margin if you are looking at the real rate of return. So the concern was, will the interest rates come lower, and should people be concerned? And the assurance to the investing public was the fact that the rates won't come lower than they already are. They will probably maintain where they are. Possibly there could be a slight recovery upwards, but there's no expectation of an adverse impact in terms of interest rates. Final point of concern was the issue on the Kenya shilling, where the United States earlier came out this week and said that the central bank is manipulating the current exchange and it should let it be defined by market forces. Dr. Njoroge was not very clear on whether it's been manipulated or not, but what he did say is that there could be a slight downward impact in terms of revenues from the diaspora, which could be lower 12% this year compared to last year. But outside of that, the sentiment was The macroeconomy is stable, the key parameters are stable, and Kenya is in a good place, and hopefully will be able to return better investment returns to different people investing in different classes as we get through the COVID-19 pandemic. So overall, the benchmark rate remains unchanged, expected. Outlook for interest rates, this is the worst level, possibly goes up, and we maintain it at this level. Then the currency remains range bound where it is, and it's something that we continue to watch. Key statistic we will be looking out for later today, inflation numbers for the month of August. But again, inflation remains well anchored. We will be able to discuss the outlook for this tomorrow. We take a short break. When we come back, we will be talking about technology. Bionic is a company that is domiciled in Uganda. Bionic is in the business of digital payments across Africa. This company was recently acquired by MFS Africa, and the investors were able to make a 5 times return on their initial investments. We want to speak with the Chief Executive Officer and understand how is the world of digital payments evolving pre-COVID and after COVID, what are the opportunities, how are different sectors being affected, and how are investors able to make a good return, and what next for this particular space. We take a break, see you in a few.